Can you believe last week I forgot to do my intro?
Yeah, he did it like, what, 40 minutes into the show?
Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and welcome to Raw Talk episode 224, where it has a very clickable title. Very clickable title, because I am interviewing Corwin Prescott, who did go to Antonelli, where I went to, but has also made a name for himself photographing naked women, not just nudes, but artistic nudes, erotica. It goes all over the board. So you can go to his website, just look up Corwin Prescott, and be warned, if you are in a public place or you're at work where you're not supposed to be looking at nudity.
Could be considered NSFW.
Yes, people perceive his work differently.
Subjective, yep.
It's, I mean, I could see that you can see the fine art aspect, and you can also see the erotic veering onto the erotic side. I'm not even gonna. I don't want to put the pornographic side, because it's not. And you'll see in the interview, or you'll hear in the interview, how he talks about the work that he does, and you can see he loves creating the images. So the time is up on the screen where you can jump to that if you want to jump to that. I highly recommend you listen to some of the other things, speaking of jumping, and also in the descriptions below.
But if you want to see nakedness now, I mean, I can help you there. So.
Oh my God.
All right, maybe
that
not.
is terrible, Todd.
I mean, if they wanted to see a nipple real quick, I got you.
Let's talk about the Sony A9.
Yeah.
Real World Review came out. That is out and about. You guys have been great watching it. And
crank that out in, what, a week and a half, 2 weeks?
Not quick
filming
enough.
to editing. Not quick enough.
Not quick enough.
Hurry up, Steven.
Make it
I would
done.
love to watch you edit a Real World Review one day.
Nope.
See how long it takes.
Not my job.
Ridiculous how much footage
I
there
love
is.
my old editing. Chop,
it's
chop,
great.
chop, chop, chop. No chop.
No,
Just
there's no
put it
chop.
out.
It's just one angle. That's it.
Some of the biggest videos I have from back in the day is me photographing Sarah in my backyard.
So
it was
entertaining.
3 different
So
angles.
entertaining.
Well, it is. It's just a fisheye lens. I put it here, and it filmed us. It filmed me shooting, filmed me
50
talking.
feet away.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that far away.
Ants in the frame.
But it totally worked. Anyway, it's a 53-ish minute video.
Yeah, it's really
Super
good.
in depth.
It is very in depth. There's the shooting part where you get the soccer, seeing me shoot on location,
Jared's perspective,
getting
point
my
of view.
reactions, and then at the end you also have the let's review the images, which is just as important as the shooting, because that's where the Real World Review is the review part. You get to hear or see the final results from multiple situations.
It's where you break it down and go through all the issues you have with the camera, all the pros, all the cons, what you thought about it overall.
So if you haven't checked it out, you go to FroKnowsPhoto.com/Sony A9,
Yep.
or go to the YouTube channel and watch it there. But just watch as much as you can.
And we'll have another one coming out pretty soon. Another
Hopefully.
Real World Review.
I mean, we've got 3 more in the can. We've
Yep.
got the one that Dan's sitting there editing right now is the Sigma 135 1.8.
Yep.
Then you're going to come back from where we're going to do the Zoo.
Oh, not the Nikon fisheye. I think
Or
I
the
should finish
fisheye.
that.
Well, whatever. I like the Zoo
That's the one
better.
I was already halfway
Yeah,
done.
if you're halfway done, then get the other one
Sure.
done.
Lots of good stuff in
Yeah.
the future.
Whole bunch of good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we talk about trying to get those out as often as possible. Hopefully every week is a plan, or trying to figure out what content we can do that you guys want to see, that actually gets more views and more watch time, because that's important, and that is worth our time spending on, that you guys want to watch. So speaking of that, we're going away.
Yes.
Canon called... That's Canon. Definitely don't cut that out, Dan. Canon called, and they're like, Jared, would you like to come out to Burbank, California, to come to our facility that we're opening for repairing camera gear? And I'm like, can Steven come? And they're like, let me check.
Who's Steven?
And so I basically said to them, I said, sure, I'll be there. Thank you for paying for the flight and the hotel
Yeah.
room and taking us to dinner multiple times at nice steak restaurants.
It's the only reason I'm going.
But
More importantly, can you fix my lens?
well, we'll get to that in a second. We'll have Steven come along, and we can make a cool vlog, and to make it more worth their while.
Yeah.
I also have a double agenda. I want to talk to Elliot about my Gear Vault. Okay. The vice president of Canon in the USA. I really want to see if there's some kind of integration we can end up making with their repairs and their stuff, because it could be good for them, but that's my angle to try to dangle when I get there.
Okay.
But our plan is to make a vlog, and one of the ideas that just popped up. Well, actually, we'll talk about bowling.
Stand by. Popping up.
But one of the ideas that popped up, I'll get to in a second, because I'm waiting for FedEx, or I have to go pick up now that I missed the package. Canon sent us out a 6D Mark II.
Yeah.
Lens rentals, I rented a 16 to 35 f4. Canon's also sending the 2.8, so we'll decide which one we'll bring.
Well,
Nice.
the reason we wanted to go with the f4 is because it's the IS, it's lighter.
But then we're sitting here and Todd's like, you should take my lens to the repair facility that's opening up.
Yep.
Because it's Todd's lens, though it's not actually Todd's lens. We've talked about this before, where
I switched lens with Jaffe,
And
the
Jaffe
guy
must
that
have
we use
dropped
all the
it
time, and
20 times.
his lens is in the one he has now is in Alaska,
which is yours.
which is
did
mine.
Did he
but
verify
now
the
I
serial
have
number?
mine. The one he has is now mine, apparently, and I got to get it fixed.
Because Todd's, anytime we tried to use Todd's to shoot video, it like you could turn the focus ring.
It never actually focuses.
No, it never gets close. It's like,
And-
and especially when Steven touches
But
it.
photos
it's funny.
seems okay. When I use it for photos, it seems to hit focus okay.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It
Really,
doesn't.
I tried it and I didn't see anything drastic.
That's because you
I
wasn't
wasn't
which
picking
is
up
the
people,
real
but-
one that's really straight out of focus
All
all
right,
the
screw
time.
you guys. I hate you guys.
But there's clearly like an element that's shifted in
Yeah.
there. It must have dropped and something shifted. So
Assholes.
I want to see if it's actually repairable.
I'd love to see. It
I
get fixed.
think they're going to be like.
I hope they
nope.
fix it just in time for Jaffe to bring mine back broken.
So I think the fun of the vlog, because every vlog needs to have a story. Well, the main
Well-
story was
Todd, what's your story?
What?
You're wearing the shirt.
Hashtag what's your story?
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
What's your story?
I can't see behind that computer. But the idea is, one, we're going to California.
It'll be fun in
I'm
general.
also
yeah.
doing I'm staying a little longer and doing part of my personal project
Yep.
out there. But if we can go with the angle, let's see if we can get Todd's lens fixed. I'm verifying that they can maybe look at it, because you never know. Maybe they can't fix it.
Is it actually opened, the service center, to the
That's
public?
what I just asked. He's checking.
Okay.
My guy at Canon's checking to see if it's open. And
It'd be awesome though if you could see it like something we always talk about, my
Yeah.
lens,
Oh.
and see it go through the process of getting
how did
fixed.
this
I want to see that.
condom get in here?
There's a lot of fluid in here, guys.
Lots of DNA.
Oh God.
This is not a storage device.
All right. So speaking of storage devices, where did you go away? Because you're back now.
I went to Fayetteville,
Nice segue.
Arkansas.
Like Topeka, Kansas, right?
No, it's more like Austin. It's hip. It's
Yeah,
cool.
right. Sure it is.
Austin, Massachusetts.
No, Austin.
Boston, Texas?
Austin, Texas.
Yeah, I
is
said
Fayetteville-
Austin.
Fayetteville, Arkansas. It's cool. It's cool. It was cool.
Yeah?
Hung out. I saw Willie Nelson.
That's
Were you
great.
super
Saw
high?
that son bitch. I saw fireworks.
Yeah. How many?
All of it brought to you by Walmart. Everything brought to you by Walmart, pretty much there. I mean, that's where it is. He's in Fayetteville, right near Fayetteville's Bentonville. That is the headquarters to Walmart, which I actually
wow.
saw the very first Walmart 5 and Dime, like in the town. Like it's all pretty and it's a museum now. But
How many?
The very first Walmart. Wow.
yeah,
how many Confederate flags did you pass?
not a lot. Not a lot. I think they swapped it out for presidential flags now.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's
what it really seems like.
a
but
white Trump flag.
I would see a lot of Trump things hanging around.
All
So
right.
you know
Oh, we'll not veer down there.
exactly. But it was good.
So let me talk about this, my Gear Vault, because this is a Huawei. Let me close all this. Now we're into my Gear Vault. This is my Gear Vault on the Android. Ooh. That's right. It's on the Android. It's either officially out by the time you're watching this. Ooh. It is officially in beta, which means there's over 1,500 people that have access to using it. We're making sure that the bugs are out so that when we do launch it, it's ready to go for you. I love this blue dot down here. I love the blue plus button. It's much better on the Android than it is on the iOS. The iOS, it's up here.
Yeah.
The animation seems to be a little cleaner too on there.
Yeah, for whatever reason, the Android it looks clean. It
Yeah.
looks nice.
Looks
you can
great.
swipe. There's more more of just functionality that
Yeah.
makes it easier. So if that's already out, you can go to mygearvault.com to download it. If it is there, you will see, you will see a Android logo, or go to the Google Play Store, type in My Gear Vault, and if you're on iOS, you can still go ahead and do that. But it's...
Did you get a lot of feedback?
Yeah,
from
I
the
mean, it's
beta
been very
testers?
good, because that's the whole point of why we released on iOS first, is that the testing was done there, which made it much cleaner on here.
Yeah.
You had a lot less bugs on
Well,
this
yeah,
version.
because they already had we already had the months and months
Yeah.
of using the other one. Of course, it would be great to launch all at once.
Of course.
But
We actually have to film a bunch of tutorial how-to videos today
Plan.
for My Gear Vault Android.
Lucky.
that's
Yeah.
the plan. KesslerCrane.com. Go to KesslerCrane.com, use the code FRO10 to get 10% off your order. I'm trying to work plugs in differently. I just surprised people so they couldn't skip it.
Random.
Oh, that,
Rode
yeah.
microphone. We use them each and every week.
right here.
Rode microphone. This is the Rode Broadcaster. If you've been listening to the audio podcast, I changed the name of the audio podcast. You guys don't know this. Last night I changed it. It's no longer Frono's Photo Raw Talk.
Is it just Raw Talk?
No, it's Frono's Photo
WWE Real Talk.
Photography Podcasts.
Okay.
because I've added more than just Raw Talk. I've done
Pictures in my mind.
pictures in my mind, which will with if you're listening at home and Corwin is talking about stuff, he can paint some pictures in your mind later. Then I do Fro rants, which don't mean that I'm angry.
Fro ranks?
Rants.
Oh,
How is it by
rants.
yourself though? Are you like NPR style? Like,
Yes,
hi,
I am.
Jared
I'm
Polin.
very-
I'm
I'm
very
very-
pissed
I'm
off.
very- no,
Or are
I'm-
you? What the hell?
No. I'm
Jared
very
Polin.
straight up.
Sweaty balls?
Very smooth. No, it's very like cool, and you know what?
Cool jazz.
I speak into the microphone,
Jared Polin.
and I'm like, I'm using the Rode NT USB
Ooh, not a plug, but it is a plug.
USB microphone. They don't pay me to say this, but it sounds good. Steven's not doing the audio. I'm
Just
doing
me.
it. It's just me into GarageBand.
Hashtag crushed it.
Hopefully I don't screw it up. Ooh. Hopefully I don't peak. Anyway, so yeah, audio podcast. If you're on YouTube watching right now, there are some audio only things that I'm putting out. I did the rant was the Fro rants. The first one that I put up was
That on the Antonelli school?
about
or
Antonelli
something? Yeah,
closing. It's that photography schools are officially dead. And I actually made a 6-minute video for YouTube to do it. And I think in the future, I'm going to film myself doing these podcasts.
Yeah, I think you should.
And I'll put them on
So,
Facebook. And
How did you film it at your desk? Was it just like a ScreenFlow thing with your webcam,
Of
or
what?
was it when you were talking into the MT USB for the
NT
podcast?
USB?
Yeah,
I just went into GarageBand.
just straighten it. No,
I
I'm
didn't do
saying-
video.
You just said you did a 6-minute video.
I did that separate. I did a separate video where I
I
wore
thought
the
you
microphone.
did it at the same
no,
time.
I just because I just thought that I needed to do it differently for YouTube. But I think in the future, I'm going to stand up. I'm going to talk to the mic.
We should do
we'll
it.
Film it.
I mean, I think of like Drama Alert and stuff like that, where it's just like one camera,
Yeah.
you're talking with a microphone,
And I'm going to put it out there. Fuck it. I'll do
Yeah.
it live.
Do
we
it
just
live.
got to. We just got to do it. I can't worry. You know, I get so stuck with the algorithm and the worrying about. Oh my God, if enough people don't watch. But then
Well, you need to do shopping sprees at Target.
maybe we'll do a camera shopping spree at Target with knives. Hammers. We're here. We're dressed up like Israeli soldiers.
Oh, boy.
I went Israeli soldiers, whatever that means. Anyway, so if you're on YouTube, I highly suggest wherever you have podcasts, wherever podcasts are available, please subscribe. You can do that on Stitcher. You can do that on iTunes. You can do that on iHeartRadio. For whatever reason, it gave me that option, so I put it there.
Yeah, why not?
Access it because there's more audio and it's not as up. It's more just a discussion. We got Photo News Fix Extra. We have Pictures in My Mind. And currently we have, Raw Talk and Fro Rants.
Do you do Spotify as well?
You have to be invited into Spotify.
It's so weird. I wonder why
I don't
they
think
haven't
they've ever
opened it up
pushed
yet.
it.
Yeah.
I think they did for a minute.
Because I use
didn't.
Spotify for everything when it comes to music now and podcasts in general.
I didn't realize they had podcasts on
They
there.
do, yeah.
Huh. Go figure.
I don't think there's many, but they do have them.
The good ones.
And the last thing I want to talk about is I got sucked in to something last night.
Sounds good.
Defiant Ones on HBO. I didn't realize it was
Oh,
coming
yeah.
out. And Defiant Ones is basically.
Dan, shut the fuck up.
What the hell was that? Shut up, Dan.
You
We're
have
not-
headphones. Put them on, asshole.
We're filming.
We are filming, you fuckface.
He's sitting there la la la.
He's like, la, la, la.
Like, what is this? The Smurfs?
Well, have you guys seen how big he is?
So the Defiant Ones is Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre, and it follows them. It's like 4 episodes, but it's hip hop history, rap history, Eminem. There's all these other
Like
interviews.
rock and roll history too with Jimmy as well.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that he was actually somebody
He
who
was a
did
producer.
something.
Yeah, he was a producer. Yeah.
Holy
for sure.
Jesus, he did. It's really good.
Yeah.
I highly recommend you watch it. It's like a visual podcast. It's a documentary.
Of course.
I think I'm going to bring it for the plane ride.
I don't know that you can download
Ooh,
HBO.
That's a good one.
On HBO Go, you can't actually
No.
download it onto your phone or
Not
anything.
that I think.
Damn.
I downloaded other stuff prepping for our trip already.
Yeah, I just watched Life, actually, that movie. With Ryan Reynolds. It was a space movie.
Oh, yeah.
Really interesting. Kind of like, it was kind of like Alien.
I haven't seen it yet.
I saw Spider-Man. Spider-Man's awesome.
I heard Spider-Man was
That's all.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, Spider-Man was great.
All right,
download
so
that.
Defiant Ones, recommend that. We talked about podcasty stuff last week, but I think it's time to move on to the interview. You guys have anything else to say?
That's it.
Oh, that sounds good, man.
We'll be back for a regular Raw Talk, I guess, in 2 weeks.
Whenever that is, and you're going to work on more real world reviews
Yep.
and this vlog thing that we're doing, chronicling our trip to California.
Yep.
Hopefully it's good.
Hopefully my lens gets fixed.
Hopefully it doesn't suck. So
Hopefully
I'll
they
give you
throw it out.
the one more time, the warning that I'm interviewing Corwin Prescott. You can find him on Instagram, same name. You can find him on his Facebook, Tumblr, as well as on his website. I'm just going to warn you, just because some people need warning, nudity, erotica, It's on his site, so don't look at it if you are offended by that stuff, or you're at work, or you could get in trouble. It's art. It's erotica. You can take it for what it is. I wanted to interview him about, does he make money at this? How does he go about it? How do you protect the model? How do you protect yourself? And why do you do this? So here it is. Yeah, I was like, why can't I just get a higher chair?
Yeah.
And so they did. They sent me back the higher chairs, which was good. Anyway, we're here. Corwin's here. He asked me, or he actually said something. He's like, you got to have the Herman Millers when editing. You have the same one?
Yeah.
What color did you get?
I got the green. I like that 70s pea soup.
I considered the green. My grandparents had that carpet in Levittown. They had literally that pea soup green. What color chair other than the plastic?
It's all white.
Oh, you did the all white also?
Yeah, all white pea soup green because I need that pea soup green in my life.
So you like that chair works out for you?
Yeah, it looks very 70s.
Yeah. So you like the 70s?
I don't really, but I like that color. Like,
well, speaking of 70s, like Boogie Nights. You into Boogie Nights?
It's like one of my favorite movies.
What makes that your favorite movie?
Oh, it's so intense. I love that they put Marky Mark in like a movie where he got to be a bad actor because I think that's kind of where he excels.
But I think he found the Transformer. So you're back in Philly.
Yeah.
You said you live in Philly.
Yeah, I've been in Philly for 10 years, and we just moved out to Seattle, and we're sort of split coasting it. But we realized that coming back to Seattle or coming back to Philly constantly from Seattle, it doesn't really work.
It's a long flight.
Yeah. And I don't like to fly, so.
Oh, man. You went to school here?
Yeah.
You went to Antonelli?
Yep. Yeah, I went to Antonelli in 2006 to 2008.
Were you shooting before then?
I did a little bit of stuff. Like, I got into photography because I was shooting bands. Like, I lived out in Harrisburg area. Mm-hmm. There was, like, a little punk rock scene there. So I managed to get my hands on a little power shot, like a Canon point and shoot or whatever.
Right.
Because my mom won it in a raffle for her company or something like that.
And that's cool.
Yeah, and so I would, my band was like opening for bands, and then I would just photograph whatever band was actually headlining.
And then you decided that Antonelli was a way to go?
Yeah, I was looking at schools, and I really wanted to go into English, and I was looking at Temple, but at the time the Tyler campus and Temple campus were separate.
Right.
So you couldn't do photo and major.
Like a double major?
Yeah, exactly. And it was expensive, and Antonelli was way cheaper than going to Temple. So
yeah. So was it helpful? Because I talk about going to school still as a thing.
Yeah.
Is photography school needed? You're not going to be able to go to Antonelli anymore?
Yeah.
Anybody, basically?
It's closed, except for this last year.
Yeah, except for the last semester. But what'd you think about it as a 2-year school?
I think that it really depends how self-motivated you are, whether or not you need school or not. Like, I know that you do your DVDs and things like that, and like if you're self-motivated enough, you can go out and learn photography pretty cheaply and put that same amount of money into the gear that you need. And, you know, I don't know how you feel, but I feel like it's easier now to learn photography than ever before, because the costs that you need to put in, as far as like we were still doing film at Antonelli when I was there. I'm sure they're still doing, or they were still doing black and white. But like what you can learn so quick on digital if you're motivated, that like why would you? The only reason really I think to go to school is to get those contacts. And if you're going into like the fine art world, then your options are like Yale or RISD or something like that.
Right.
Like none of the Brooks couldn't get you those contacts. Hallmark won't get you those contacts. Antonelli didn't have like the hands into the fine art world. It's just not.
Yeah. No, exactly. So let me ask you this: what type of photographer do you consider yourself?
I do. I consider myself a fine art photographer. I shoot nudes in nature and landscape, and then like erotic content as well. And I sort of, I don't know, I bridge the gap between a lot of things. Like some people consider my work pornography, but I don't really care whether or not that's their opinion of my work.
Sure.
You know.
Well, did you plant your flag there and say, this is the type of work I want to do, or how did it come about?
Well, when I went to Antonelli, I thought I wanted to be like a portrait and wedding photographer. And I got there and I had this teacher, Vlad, and he sort of introduced me to photography I'd never seen before. You know, like he showed me Jan Sadek's work and Joel Peter Wicken's work, and I was just like, yeah, I think I'd rather do that. Like, I've always sort of been drawn more to like the fringes of whatever medium that I'm like interested in, like as far as writing or music or something like that. And so like once I saw how much more you could do with photo, I was just like, I don't think that portraits and weddings are gonna like make me feel fulfilled in the same way
Right.
that doing this will. Like moving into just really exploring what you can do with photography as far as the medium. There's so many different forms and different alternative processes. And so like the more I found out, the more I was drawn sort of that direction.
Did anybody try to dissuade you from going in that direction?
I mean, there was like one or two teachers that they were good teachers and they knew how to teach what they were into, but they would say things like, models don't have any money. Like, you'll never make any money doing this. And I was just like, you know, we'll see. Like, there's so many different models for not models as in people, but like models for what you can do as business, as like the internet and technology has sort of afforded you. If you're creative enough and you are forward thinking enough, like you can forgo a whole bunch of routes. Like the traditional route for fine art photography is going and doing galleries and things like that, and even that I think is like
Passe.
yeah, there's just like so many dangling carrots out there that if you're a photographer you can chase and just get beaten with the stick the whole way. Whereas if you do something like, you know, the raw talk stuff that you guys are doing, you build your own pyramid, to me. And that's sort of what I've always been kind of working towards, is just like, maybe models don't have money and they won't pay me to take their photos, but if I do these shoots and they're good enough and other people are interested, I feel like there's always a way to build your own audience.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Can you make a living at shooting nude erotica?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I lived in Philly for 10 years and it's like cheap to be here, and I feel like this is one of the cities that, like, if you're a poor artist and you want to try and do something, like, you can do it. Like, I paid $250 a month rent here for a couple years.
Where?
I lived over in Francisville in one of the old elementary schools.
I've never heard of Francisville.
It's I don't know if Brewery Town has always been called Brewery Town,
Okay.
but it's in between Brewery Town and Fairmount. It's that section.
So it's a coin flip on which street is beautiful and which street is still burned out and run down.
Yeah. I mean, it's changed a ton. Like, when I was there were all these empty lots. It was my apartment there was 800, and we split it 3 or 4 ways with, like, there's a huge community of traveling photographers and models and whatnot. And so we would have friends that we met online that lived in like Topeka, Kansas, or
Topeka, Kansas,
Yeah.
Stephen. My favorite place in the world. Topeka.
Yeah, and we would be like, hey, you should just move out here. Like, we can all split rent in this building. It'll be $200 a month. We're 2 hours from New York. We're 3 hours from DC. Like, you can hop on the Chinatown to Chinatown bus and be up there for gigs if you need. And so we sort of built like this little community in that building. And there were like, we took over 5 apartments in it, and like the ceiling would fall in when it rained. And
That's awesome. That's just what you
Yeah.
want to do.
Yeah,
But
and-
that's what you get for $200 a
yeah,
month.
exactly. But it had like 20-foot high ceilings and huge windows, and so it was just like a place where we could really sort of experiment, live cheap, figure out like how to like. People already liked my work, but I wouldn't say I was like a very good photographer at that time. You know, like I was sort of vacillating between, you know, the extremes of like too much cross processing, too much all of that. You know,
Yeah.
the like sort of things you do when you're finding your way.
Sure.
Sort of like bounce like a pinball between too much and too little.
So my questions are, how did you find models willing to do the nudes and the erotic?
It's sort of, while I was in school, there was an event called like Catwalk Tragedy in Philly.
At school at Antonelli Institute, brought to you
Yeah.
by Antonelli Institute.
Well, it
Oh,
was,
no, it
while I
wasn't. No,
was
I'm
in
just kidding.
school, it was something, it was
It
an
wasn't
unrelated
literally
thing.
in the school.
Yeah. But I was invited to go there and take photos, and they sort of meant as a more like a photojournalist cover of it. But like, I was young, and I was like, there was this photographer at the time named Lithium Picnic who I really loved his work.
Lithium Picnic?
Yeah.
God-given name?
I don't think so. But he was like in LA and he was shooting. There's this magazine that used to be based out of the K called Bazaar, and they did all this like crazy like. They covered like performance, like circus performance sort of stuff, like people that do the suspension with hooks and latex, like lots of different fetish outfits. And so he was going to be there, and I was like, oh, I'm going to bring my portfolio, and I brought like lights, like studio lights. I didn't understand that they just wanted me to cover it as like photojournalism. So I was just like, I'll go and I'll just photograph anybody that walks up to me. But people were like, that's kind of weird, but they were into it. And so they let me take their pictures, and it sort of was, I managed to like build a little portfolio on Model Mayhem, and it sort of just snowballed from there. Like once people saw what I was doing from those photos, I got more people interested in working with me.
Well, so do you pay them? Do they pay you?
It sort of depends. Like most of it's mutual content. Like we do trade shoots basically. And for a long time we were using this website called Zivity, where it was like a vote-backed sort of monetization system where like fans would vote on the set, and 55 cents would go to the photographer or to the model, for 35 to the photographer, and then Zivity took like 15. But a lot of us have sort of migrated to this new website called Patreon. That's really great because like the way copyright works in photography is it doesn't really work out very well for like trade shoots with models, because the copyright goes to the photographer, and a lot of times photographers don't share the revenue from those photos with the models. And in a trade situation, that's kind of like legally okay, but ethically I think it's a little ambiguous. But so what's good for these shoots and stuff like that is Patreon allows, the model can use it on their Patreon, I use it on my Patreon, and we both make money from the shoots. So as we do the shoot and then we make the money on the back end. I do still get hired to do like portfolio development for people that are looking to start doing more modeling. Like I'll get hired to, shoot in my style for people. And I do stuff for private clients too.
Which probably pays really well.
Yeah.
Because let me explain Patreon to people. So it's a website where social influencers, YouTubers, anybody creating something can go and basically you can pay a monthly fee for a different level of access depending on who it is. So you can have, for $10 a month, you get X. For $50 a month, you get Y. For $500 a month, you get Z. So there's all different types that you can do. And some people allow the public to see how much they make a month, and others hide it behind closed doors. So this is a double-edged sword. Sometimes it works well, and sometimes it doesn't, because I've seen it where friends have done them, and they get like 10 people a month, and it's like $212. Now, to me, that looks really bad and would feel really bad personally. But I see, what's yours, like $3,000 a month?
Yeah, I vary between like $2,500 to $3,000 a month.
Is that all for you?
Yeah.
And the split is automatically taken for the models, or
the models sort of build their own. So like it works out really well because it's almost like a reoccurring Kickstarter,
Yeah.
But you get out of it what you put into it, and it sort of is like, I would definitely say that it's not for everybody.
Who are the people paying for this?
It's mostly, for me, it's mostly actually fans from Tumblr. Even though
would you call fan? So are these people that are fan of art or just want to see naked women?
I mean,
or a mix of both.
It's sort of a mix of both. If people just want to see naked women, though, they're not going to spend money. They're just going to go online and Google it. So
True.
It tends to actually be like my best fans and my most supportive people. Like I pivot a lot and follow different projects, and they follow me regardless of which direction I'm going. Like right now I'm doing more analog, like wet plate stuff, and it's not, it's more tame, and I'm learning my way, so I'm not very good at it yet, but they're still following me to this project, even though it's not the same as everything I've done before. They're just interested in supporting and seeing where that goes. So you say you have fans and followers, Tumblr, I know you have Instagram. How did you start building the following there? I mean, it sort of has followed me from website to website over time. Like, I really started building my following on Model Mayhem, and sort of group of fans and friends. And then once I moved over to Tumblr, I was lucky that like a lot of my friends are like they were regularly published tattooed models and like inked and whatnot. And so that sort of just built itself. Like I do pick people that I think will like help my following, and then I just sort of do what I like. And I found that like the more I actually chase projects that make me happy, it tends to actually work out better, because when I write about them, people find that more interesting, especially on like Instagram and things like that, where you can be as personal or impersonal as you want. And so I try and, you know, put as much of my personality into my photos as possible, even though it's like maybe more subdued or dreary sometimes. But
yeah. Well, how do you get Instagram to not, like Tumblr, you can post whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
Instagram, I post a picture of me wearing a Halloween costume with pants on, and they took it down. I didn't have a shirt on. Yeah, I mean, well, Steven, do we show that picture right now? Maybe. Yeah, we can show that picture. I don't know why they took it down. I mean, I'm sure people were just like, oh my God, I can see the outline of his crotch. It's like, whatever. And
I think I remember that.
Yeah. Well, they got rid of it. Well, on
Did you
Facebook,
post
I
about
posted it on Facebook.
Yeah.
But on Instagram, they took it down probably because people were like reporting it. How do you how do you keep from having your stuff taken down, or does it get taken down?
It does get taken down every now and then. It's a really weird line that you have to walk, and it seems very arbitrary as to what gets removed. I'm assuming that they outsourced the review process somewhere else, so it's entirely up to the mercy of what random person reviews your reported work.
Because you see these things like you got nude yoga, and there's no pasties, but they don't. I mean, they show butt crack, and then you're like, but wait a second, why is this? I mean, I get it. It's a hot girl, and then
my wife and our general rule is if the butt looks close enough that you could touch it, then you can't use it.
Okay.
So the butt needs to be far away from you.
You hear that, Todd? If the butt is too close, you shouldn't touch it. That's a good rule of thumb. If it's got to be an arm's length away.
It's got to be even farther than an arm's length. It has to be like small in the frame. The whole thing is just like ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. There's Instagrams with like millions of followers where they post nipples constantly.
Yeah.
And like if I show a nipple, you know, my Instagram could be gone tomorrow.
Unless it's your own.
Yeah, unless it's mine.
Because guys can show their nipples.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it's fine because, you know, male nipples are just so much safer looking than female nipples.
So you're married.
Yep.
How does that affect all of the shooting nude women and the erotica stuff?
I mean, the main person I photograph is my wife. Like, we have our own project where we're trying to shoot nudes on every single continent. And we just have a really open, like, trusting relationship. So I don't know, it's never really come up or been weird or anything like that. Like, we both work in the field. She travels and works with other photographers all the time. I travel and work with other models. It just is, it's like cool. Never really been a thing.
Well, that's lucky.
Yeah.
Because I have difficulty photographing models.
Yeah.
Not difficulty photographing them. It's just like, hi, okay, hi, I got to go.
Yeah. It's, we have like a really good work balance and like dynamic, and it's really good to like have a partner that supports you. Sure. You know, if she sees that like I'm doing something that is fulfilling, then she's always supportive of that. And
that's
likewise.
Great. So what are the most important things that people need to know about doing nude photography? Photographers, what do they need to know to protect themselves and to protect the model?
Most important thing is like always have discussed what models are comfortable with beforehand, and never at a shoot try and ask for more than most models, almost every traveling model that does this professionally has their limits stated very plainly, and
they have them stated plain. What, like Model Mayhem type stuff?
Yeah, like they'll either have it on their Model Mayhem or
they'll just tell you.
Yeah, exactly. And like I think that like there's a big problem in our community, honestly, of like photographers trying to get more from people than they normally do, because they see it as some sort of badge of pride, which is just like bullshit.
Well, wouldn't it also go the other way too? That it's not just guys trying or photographers trying to get more,
Yeah.
but then there's the GWCs, the guys with cameras that are just wanting to shoot nude, just want to get girls naked.
Yeah,
They're not photographers. They suck. In all essence, they really do. So that leads into the other side of the question, which I think is important. What do models need to ask of a photographer to vet them, to make sure they're the real deal? What do they need to do?
Yeah. I think that one of the important things is there are like a lot of model safety groups on Facebook and stuff like that, and they do share
Good practices?
they share good practices, and they also share information. Like every model has, you know, a list of people they've worked with and good and bad recommendations for them based on that. So, I mean, that's important. But it's not just, you know, it's photographers and GWCs. Like some of the most famous photographers in the world are still shitty pervs that push people. And
Naming names?
I mean,
He just got married the other day.
wait, did he?
Yeah, if we're talking about the same guy.
Terry Richardson.
Yeah, he just got married.
Yeah.
Don't know how that happened, but
Well, you know, there's somebody out there for everybody, I
Yeah.
guess. But it is really depressing sometimes for me just how many photographers are willing to like push models, or not even just push them, just like, you know,
try to take advantage.
Try and take advantage, yeah.
Because there is a respect thing if you're photographing nudes, because you have to be the major professional there. You have to. You've got some fuzz on you. Okay, I'm not going to walk over and touch
Yeah.
you. I'm going to direct you and say, by the way, that, you know, there's this. If you're not comfortable, don't do anything, because that you have to do that in order to get. Just personally, you have to do that. And it's going to go a long way, because it sounds like you love doing this. You love capturing the images. And it can show when somebody doesn't love capturing the images. They just want to get girls naked and try to sleep with them. And that comes across. So, I mean, it's really important for the models to understand that, too, that it's the photographer is going to make you comfortable. And if you're not comfortable, then get out.
Yeah.
Just don't do it. Just leave. Bring a friend. Like, do you recommend they bring a friend or somebody?
It's really, you know, it's up to them. Like, they can take all those precautions, and if, you know, something bad can still happen.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like, bringing a friend definitely can help.
Or then that's two people that
you
get in
feel,
trouble.
yeah, if it makes you feel safe and more comfortable. But ultimately, you know, it's on the people hiring or photographing to not cross the line.
Yeah.
Like, anytime I hear about something like this, and it's way more frequent than it should be, it's fucking amazing to me that there are still models willing to go out there and do it. Because, like, you know, we are a really sort of fringe group, and a lot of the models don't get nearly as much appreciation for their work. You know, for me, they're like half the shoot, you know. Elsewise, I'm just taking pictures of like trees and shooting, you know, some mountains and water. And
Yeah.
like, there's plenty of people that shoot great landscapes and whatnot, but like, and even more than that, like empty goddamn hotel rooms and
No, that's fine.
or just, you know, seamless backdrops.
Sure.
Like, the work is pretty boring without the 50% that they bring.
So how did you build up your style with the lighting? Because, you know, it's one thing you see erotica and, well, porn. You see porn. I'm not calling your stuff porn. You see porn and you're like, yeah, that's pretty grungy. It's just photos, right? They're snapshots a lot of the times. Then you look at your work and it's a cross between like fine art, high-end fine art. It's lit very well. It comes across as amazing photos, because that's what when I looked at it, I was like, wow, there's some interesting things going on in these photos, but they are photographs. They are works of art. They are great images. And that doesn't come across with a lot of other people's work that do this type of stuff that I've seen. Yeah. I mean, this just, like, you look at it and you go, this is professional. This has a style. This connects the dots from story to story that you do. And it just, how'd you figure that out?
It took a while. I really like to work in series. Like, I don't know. I probably fall like somewhere on the autism spectrum. And like, I get really fixated on one series, and I just want to like keep doing it, keep experimenting, keep seeing like where it goes and how many times I can do something. So I love to like set limitations for myself and then like work within those parameters to try and not create the same photo over and over again. So for me, it starts with one shoot. Like, I've done a ton of single photo shoots that never turn into anything, because I like that photo shoot, but I just like don't think that I can keep doing it and keep making it as varied as it needs to be to like maintain that consistency or interest from shoot to shoot to shoot. But like once I do something and I feel really excited about it and I'm just like, all right, I know that there's more here. And so I just keep working with that, and I keep sort of, you know, the editing will change slowly throughout the series, and I'll end up going back and like fixing early things and kind of finding like a color palette that I like that works for them. So it sort of starts with like my first shoot, and then refining a color palette, and then refining like what it is I want to even say with that series, or what sort of mood or feeling I want to capture with the entire series.
So there's a lot of thought that goes into it. It's not just, hey, girl, get nude, let me do some photos.
Yeah.
You have to figure out the lighting scheme. It's like any other portrait shoot.
Yeah.
And I know for myself personally, I do mostly candid photojournalistic style because I just like to capture what's going on. And I know how difficult it is to photograph somebody nude. I know how difficult it is to be in that situation, to try and get the lighting, and then to figure out, my brain doesn't work that way personally. I'm not that set up type of person.
Yeah.
But in terms of your private work, so you've given away a lot, or you've done a lot of trade, which has built followers and it has built a portfolio. How do the private, they just email you and they say, hey, and then you like, this is what it costs?
Yeah. So a lot of people, you know, if people will fall in love with my work, which is weird to say, but like if they really love something I'm doing and they want to be a part of it, but they don't want it shared, you know,
Sure.
with the world, or, you know, there's still a ton of stigma just for being a human and being naked. Like people can lose their jobs and there's no protection against that. So a lot of people are willing to pay to be a part of the work, but also like maintain their privacy. And so I get a lot of people that reach out to me on Instagram. I get a lot of people that reach out to me on Tumblr. It doesn't matter how many places I put my email address. The direct message seems to be the
modus operandi.
Yeah, exactly.
Operandi. So what do you, can I ask, charge? What are some of the prices? What do they range from?
I mean, I like to sort of stay pretty affordable. So like I just charge a flat rate normally of $500 for a shoot, because that's like, it's enough money for me to feel like I'm getting enough money for my time and all the time I put into building the series and the look for everything. It's basically, I give them as many images as I'm happy with at the end.
So there's no right or wrong way. I mean, I think that's something important for everybody at home, is that you feel that that's what you deserve to get paid, or want to. You feel comfortable getting paid that. Some people would say, well, that's undercharging, or you should charge more, but it's personal preference. Where do you go from here? What's the next phase for you?
I mean, we've sort of been figuring that out. Like since the one series called Temperance that I did, that was shot entirely in like one of the bedrooms in our house in Philly. And so
Is that what the people tied up?
yeah, there's like bondage in it, but it's got the floral fabric and wallpaper.
Right, this old people sofa.
Almost everything is shot through mirrors and whatnot. Like almost none of them are direct images of a person. It's all reflections.
Nice.
And so we tore the fabric off the walls for that series, and we're probably trying to figure out how the best way to do a book for it. So I did a Kickstarter a couple of years ago to do a book where I went and shot in every single state in the country. We kind of think that Kickstarter is probably the best medium to just pre-sell a book, basically.
Sure. How did it work out the first time?
I raised 16 grand for my first Kickstarter, and I spent like 18.
And what were the deliverables?
It was books, prints, photo tutorials.
But yeah, I mean, though you spent $2 extra grand,
Yeah.
you had the experience.
Exactly.
You got all the work. You got people to buy it.
Yeah.
So you're building the business that way.
Yep.
Which then means the next time you can go back to those same people, and hopefully a nice percentage of them tax on, and then somebody shares it. And I mean, that's how the Kickstarter world works.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I lost money, but yeah, you definitely, once you make the work, like you have that work forever, and there's still value in that. You know, I'm okay with breaking even on some projects if it means that I get to make the work, because I still have that. Like, I've probably sold enough prints from the 50 models thing that it more than covered the $2,000 that I sunk into it. I also learned a lot about how to actually do these projects safer monetarily, so that I'm not going to sink extra money in. And
Which is what?
I mean, plan for a lot of inevitable setbacks. Like, the reason that we really lost a bunch of money for that project is because I was in a car accident in South Dakota. We got stuck in like a tornado spawning storm. You know, that was a really ambitious big project that I thought would be easier than it was, because I had already driven through all 48 states. I just hadn't been to Alaska and Hawaii. And I was like, I'll go and do every single state again if it means I get to go to Alaska and Hawaii, because I don't know if I'll ever have that opportunity.
Right.
And now it's like 5 years later, I just was back in Alaska. Like, I'm probably going to go out to Hawaii again. But it was worth it to do that project and get there the first time and create the work.
So what do you have to say to people out there just thinking that the direction they want to go is either taboo, or that even if it's not taboo, that they don't think they can do it?
I think that like, if something feels really fulfilling to you, like, there probably is a way to make that project work. It's just a matter of you know, being in the right place, being somewhere that, like, don't move to New York to try and pursue your project. Maybe don't move to LA even. Like, they're just
Topeka.
Yeah, you can move to a city where you have to kill yourself to try and make a living, or, you know, be somewhere where it's cheap enough that you can sort of build your thing and, you know, pursue it. Like, if I had moved to New York or LA, I'd be doing actors' headshots every day to pay my rent. I'd never have any time to pursue any of the work that I actually really enjoy. So, you know, I was in Philly for 10 years, and it's, you know, you're here. It's a weird city that's gigantic, but somehow infinitely cheaper than the West Coast or New York. Or,
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not far from New York, like you said earlier. It's
Yeah.
not far from D.C. You hop a train and you're there. And I mean, obviously you're far from L.A., but in this day and age, you don't need to be in the L.A.s and the New Yorks to make a name for yourself. You can make a name for yourself and then end up there, because then you can afford it doing the thing that you do.
Yeah, we all live in like a city on the internet, you know, and it's like a really small world that it's
Ready
actually,
Player One.
Yeah, it's really easy to build, you know. I went from, you know, I grew up in like central Pennsylvania, town of like 2,000 people, and now I have more followers than live in like the entire county on Instagram. Like, I'm in my own city. It's weird.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, I appreciate you coming in. Where can people find out more information?
My main thing is Instagram, and it's just at Corwin Prescott. And then my website, www.corwinprescott.com.
And there you go.
Links to everything else.
Perfect. Thank you for coming in, man.
No problem. Thanks.
You're welcome. All right, we're back. That was the interview. We chose not to pop up photos during the interview because there's no reason. I wanted him to paint pictures in your mind.
Oh,
Pictures in
shameless
your
plug. Shameless plug.
Subscribe to the podcast. No, it wasn't necessary because it's not about shock and awe like the title. The title is meant to get you to click it because you want to see naked girls.
You perverts.
I enjoyed, you know, Todd's favorite one on the site.
The foxtail.
Well, the dude on the sofa wearing the bear mask.
I kept going back to that one.
You really like the sofa in that picture, right?
I
That's
love
what it
the
was?
sofa as well as the bear head.
But look, I said it during the interview. I really like the work that he does. Whether he's doing the landscapes, shooting his dog out in these places, or his wife, which I didn't know it was his wife until he said that.
Yeah.
I also found it interesting. He talked about the autism spectrum.
Yeah.
Because he was a little nervous and he did open up. But it's interesting because he talks about that focus. And I guess on the autism spectrum, you can have hyper focus on what you're doing and be really into it and really good. And I don't think he's not doing this so he can be around nude women. There's a lot of people out there that do that. They want to just be around nude women because that's what they want to do. But he actually has a love for it, and you can hear that. He loves creating.
Very passionate.
And some of it's taboo-ish, but there's a calling. People want it. So it's interesting. He chose to go that direction. He used to shoot weddings, but this is what he wanted to do. And I loved when he talked about the Kickstarter that he lost $2,000. Did he lose 2,000 or did he gain 16 and spend 18? You know, in the end, it's still 2,000, but it's 2,000 that he had to spend on top of spending 16 to do a personal trip where he went to all 50 states, built up all of this work, helped build the following, and invested. Because it's like, imagine you invested $2,000 to spend $18,000, and you got a whole lot out of it because you could do it again.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's he took the risk and he did it.
I loved how he described how, even breaking even, he doesn't mind it. As long as he can do what he wants to do, he doesn't care if he breaks even or not.
Yep.
I
think that's awesome.
When I hear that, I'm like, no, money. Where's the gun, Todd? No. I'm like, give me more. Wait, hold on. I'm like this.
Great podcast, guys.
Damn it, Dan.
Failing. It's stuck.
Todd, make sure you hit the lens. Make sure you hit the $3,000 lens while you're at it.
I'm like, give me money.
Nailed that lens.
I'm like, give me more. I don't want to break even. But at the end of the day, if we can run this business and I can own this building and own my place and go out to eat, and we can all have
All Jared cares about is can he go out to eat?
Exactly.
and
Can
we
he have
He wants
soup?
to do.
and we all have health coverage, except for Todd's not on my health coverage.
I don't care
but
about Todd.
I'm going to live forever.
do you know the health coverage is so important? Anyway, that's a whole different
He's
debate.
very opposite of you, though, in terms of like pre-production and themes and planning
Oh, you
out.
mean he actually plans it out?
Exactly. Where Jared tends to not plan out anything
Again.
until we're there on the spot. That's when the planning starts, and that's when the panicking starts.
Not for me. I never panic.
No,
I don't panic.
I panic because
Steven
then you
panics.
start bringing up stuff
That's
that we
true.
never talked about when we do shoots
Well,
or something like that.
because
And I'm like,
I-
if we would have talked about it,
But
that'd
I
be
don't
cool.
know. So for
You can't plan for inspiration.
in my
when you work-
defense, you can't plan for inspiration.
That's mine. That's my trademark. I'm
you work
putting
in
that on a shirt. I
when
need
you work
another shirt.
in a team
guys, I need
environment,
another
though,
shirt.
when you work in a team environment, planning is crucial, in my opinion.
Which I've gotten much better at allowing
Yes.
for it. But when we go and do a candid shoot or we go somewhere like the zoo, I can't control
That I get.
what's going to happen.
But as long as we generally plan out the day of where we're going to go, what we're going to shoot, again, generally, that's all that we need. But I love the themes of his shoots. I love the dog stuff that he was doing, like you said, all the bondage stuff.
I like his style. Because I said it where
Very muted.
it's one thing to photograph nude people and it looks like porn. It's another thing to have a major fine art approach to it.
Yeah.
Great light, great angles, just great all around. Like that's
I love
the cool part.
I love the studio light look that looks natural.
Yeah.
That's
And
what I
he
love.
has a theme of like matching the nudes with like nature in some regard. Whether he's whether he's out there with trees and all that stuff. Because I like the one girl that's like in the tree.
It's not just a
You
picture.
mean the tree that looks like this?
Yeah, but then she's in the tree and her.
That's
booty's
what I
out.
love about the
It looks
composition and the
crazy.
framing.
It's pretty interesting.
You're not just shooting a girl next to a tree. You're shooting, the foreground bokeh with the
Exactly.
leaves around her,
Exactly.
surrounding her, and,
And it-
naturally framing her.
It's not for
That's what I
everybody.
love.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody, but there's nothing wrong with nude. There's nothing wrong
No.
with naked. There's nothing wrong with erotica. In my opinion, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you're into and that's what you like and you want to photograph it, awesome. And if you like watching that stuff, you can pay Corwin on his Patreon to get access to these shoots when he does it.
And I thought what he said about charging too per shoot. I thought that was very affordable.
That scared me.
I know it
because
did.
I'm like 500. I'm like, dude.
Jared's like, I would have charged $10,000
I'm
for
like,
that.
more.
I don't walk out of the house for less than $10,000, assholes.
But I can also say that with personal projects, I've seen that I've gotten access to certain things that turned into paying jobs based off of giving away. Like
yeah.
I love here because there's those photographers who are like, never give your work away, never trade.
He's not
never
giving
do
it
this.
away, though.
Well, in some cases he's trading, not getting paid.
Trade for pics, yeah.
But see, this is where, and I know we're going long into this. This is where the old school mentality of never give your work away, always maintain your rights, don't let people just use it for nothing is old school
It's
thinking.
changed.
Where he is getting these shoots and then making money a different way by people paying to see it.
Or you're sharing it on Instagram, building up that audience, and then bringing more people into that funnel. And
And they call and he gets $500, which to me is really inexpensive. I'm looking to
great.
go get my nude photos from
yeah,
him
I mean,
done
it's
soon.
crazy affordable.
I'll pay. You guys want to do like a Frono's nude
Nope.
calendar?
Not at all.
I know Dan's raising his hand over there.
Gloria would
Dan
buy
already
one.
does 'em.
Gloria would probably buy one.
In fact, Dan's
Yeah.
already naked. Who's Lori?
Dan edits naked.
Gloria.
Oh, Gloria. Wait, hold on. Phone call.
We'd sell one. Oh, wrong.
Gloria, how's Florida?
Oh, it's great. Thanks for calling.
That's right. You want to see nude Todd, Dan, Steven, or Jared?
Everybody with Dan. I don't want to see his little pencil neck. Goodbye.
Raw talk. So raw.
Definitely raw this week.
Hey, speaking of not doing like any plugs this week, like Rode microphone, once again, my Road Reel competition is over.
Yep.
You can go vote for the winners.
Oh, nice.
You can go pick them. There's a link that I want you to click. It's down below because that tracks so that they know we're sending people.
Great.
I just wish it was just go there and look and stuff. But
Yeah.
anyway, anything else you want to say?
No, that's it.
Did I hit all of the plugs that I normally hit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're not spinning a wheel or doing memes because it was about the discussions today.
Yep. Good interview.
And then
Really good interview.
and then that
Yep.
stuff.
Very
so
good.
yeah, go follow him if you want to follow him. His Instagram's very cool. His photos are really cool. And if you feel the desire to give him money to see more work or to just give him money,
Just to support.
there's a way to do that.
Yep.
Patreon.
Yeah.
So we're gonna travel. I'm gonna go eat lunch. I'm hungry. We got to make some more My Gear Vault videos.
Then you have to go to the FedEx Center.
Got a full plate today.
Don't
A
get
lot
me
of stuff to film.
started. The guy may come back. I'm going to send Dan. And they're like, somebody needs to be in your apartment to sign for it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. They never come up to my third
They're
floor
never coming
anyway.
to your door.
You were
yeah.
so angry when they called today.
Well, it's a new...
This is bullshit.
I didn't say that. I
kinda
tried to
did.
be nice because I came up with multiple... Like, I didn't have it delivered here. The overnight stuff that I need for going away tomorrow. The Canon camera and the lens from Lens Rentals. And I left a note on the door. And we have an option, like, get it, to have somebody else sign for it.
Now.
My old FedEx driver was awesome. He'd notify me that he's on his way if I needed to sign for it. Or he'd be like, package is here. It's good.
He broke the rules for you.
He did.
That's why he's not there anymore.
Exactly.
No, he's on a different route.
Sure he is.
But he was really good. He was awesome. All right. Todd,
I'm good.
what's your story?
Exactly.
That's it. We're going to end it. This is Raw Talk episode 224. Download it. Watch on YouTube. Leave comments. Do the podcast audio. Subscribe. Let me know in the comments below if you've checked out any of the audio-only podcasts. And like I said, I probably will film them in the future and might as well just put them up. I don't think I'm hurt. I question everything I do.
Oh, everything.
I better.
Really?
Every single video.
That's weird.
Better end the show.
So weird.
So that's Raw Talk 224. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya. Dan's not here to wave at the thing. He's over there.
Yes, nice.
Oh, what's that flopping in the wind?